Well, I hope you enjoyed it. I mean, the guys are full, but that's the level of some of the players that just literally don't have a clue. But speaking about gamers and COD, there was a game that came out a little while ago called CONCORD. It was on PlayStation, and it performed so badly, it just got pulled from the shelves within, like, I think, 3 weeks. But I found this video about the absolute chaos of Concord. I just wanted to check it out. So this video is still and contains streaming video enough content, mate.
The year is 2024, and Sony is about to release the Kraken, a project they'd had in the works for almost a decade, and with a reported budget of up to $400 million. By
400 million. Wow. I heard that Activision spend $1 billion producing a Call of Duty game each year. Don't know how accurate or how true that is, but 400 million is a lot of money. That's a lot to just write off. Did anyone actually play Concord? I mean, it was only out for such a short time. And it didn't have a very big player base, but it didn't get good reviews.
far their most expensive game yet. Nothing could go wrong. The year is 2016. Overwatch has just come out, and it's making the rounds everywhere. It's very popular. It's the first AAA shooter since TF2 almost a decade ago, and it's good. Amazing gameplay and map design, well-designed characters with a ton of personality, and a
I never played it, no. I never played Overwatch. I might do one day, I mean, it's still going. So.
decent cosmetic system. Around the same time, an exodus at Bungie, and ex-Bungie developers coalesced to form what would become Firewalk Studios.
Give me 1 second, let me check for you. Right, so player numbers, let's see. So number 1, Counter-Strike. Number 2, Dota 2. Number 3 is PUBG Battlegrounds. Wow, look at that. Counter-Strike's got over 1 million players just on the PC right now. Path to Exile 2. Marvel Rivals. That's going to be a lot. I've seen a lot of the Call of Duty gamers go to Marvel Rivals. Naraka Blade Point. Pal World. That's still going. I know Nintendo's trying to sue them. Grand Theft Auto 5. Isn't that like a really old game? 9 is Rust. And 10 is Wallpaper Engine? Where's COD? Yeah, where is COD? More. 11, Stardew Valley. 12, Apex Legends. 13, Banana. 14, Delta Force. 15, Warhammer. 16, The Forest. 17, Baldur's Gate 3. 18 is Eldering. 19. Holy crap! Oh my god! 70,000 players on PC. And the PC player base is bigger than console. I think PC player base is a large chunk of the player base. Wow! Can we get more information on this? The last 30 days, December, it's lost 43% of players. It's lost 72,000 players. In November, it did have a big jump by 81,000. 72,000 players. I think that might have a lot to do with they did a free-to-play for everything near the end of November. I think the free-to-play inflated all the things, so everyone jumped on. And then obviously that's finished and everyone should jump back off again. But yeah, I mean, damn. That is so bad. I mean, you can see there's about 100,000 there. It's not even 100,000. I mean, it's not doing well at all. That is insane. That is just crazy.
Initial meetings are held on their first project. You guys seen that Overwatch thing? Yeah? Let's do that. And they get to work. Fast forward to 2021. Now at this point in time, Sony's gaming department is headed by a man named Jim Ryan. He and the boys at Sony look around. The gaming landscape had changed. Gone were the days where you just made a game and sold it. Fortnite was now here, and if you weren't selling stolen dance moves and Peter Griffin skins through recurrent battle passes, you were losing. They look at their own games. Uncharted, The Last of Us, God of War, Spider-Man. Some great stuff. One problem, not one of them was live service, and therefore wasn't printing buckets of cash for Jim and the boys.
Yeah, a lot of games in the last few years are like, we have to do live service. We must do live service. That's where all the money is. But it's very hard to do a live service. And it's nowhere near what they expect. I mean, look at Xify. That's just gone. But I don't think that's down to player numbers or the game. I think that's down to Ubisoft pulling it because they're screwed at the moment.
So Ryan makes a decision.
Yeah.
PlayStation is going to kick the doors down, burst into this market head first. But first, time to go shopping. And Herman Hulst, head of PlayStation Studios, starts looking for a few developers they could swipe up to help make that happen. It's around this time that Sony gets word of Firewalk, and they like what they hear. A studio made up of industry vets with a ton of talent. Ex-Battlefield devs, ex-Destiny devs, and ex-Halo devs. The studio's creative lead was even the creative director on Destiny 2. Their mission statement? To craft incredible multiplayer experiences that bring people together and inspire unforgettable and unexpected shared moments. Wow.
Okay.
They'd even started work on their first game.
I mean, clearly they have the skills.
A hero shooter set in an original sci-fi universe called CONCORD. Sounds promising. So Sony is interested. They ask for a sneak peek of the game, and what they...
Why name it after a plane? They should have called it the Boeing 747. It might have had more impact. But a lot of people like flight sims. They may have had more people might think it was a flight sim.
See amazes them. What Firewalk is making is so innovative, so impressive. They want in immediately. They'd seen the success of Overwatch and Valorant. This hero shooter genre is an absolute cash cow. And now it...
I don't know. I don't know if this is one of the games that took like attractive young women and then made them really unattractive and like overweight. I'm not sure. I don't know. Not a clue.
It was Sony's turn. April 2021, and a deal is struck. Some cash on the table from Sony, and Firewalk's hero shooter would come out as a first-party exclusive for the PlayStation 5 and PC. Nice. Sony now had a taste of that sweet Bungie talent, and they wanted more. So in January 2022, they buy Bungie itself.
I've got to say, I love this guy's editing that he puts into the videos. It's really good.
We're done.
A studio currently maintaining just one popular IP for $3.6 billion. What a steal. Sony was now set to release a ton of live service games. More than 10 before March 2026, they say.
You serious?
In early 2023, Sony checks up on CONCORD, and this thing is in rough shape.
Meow.
At this point, it's apparently still in alpha, and it's not looking great.
Yeah, I saw about Disney doing everything they can to like destroy Sonic 3. I heard that Disney's actually thinking about actually now buying or trying to buy Sega just so they don't have the Sonic competition. I don't know how true that is.
Things like player onboarding and monetization haven't
easy,
even been figured out yet. Worst bit? This is about 5 years into active development. Now, Firewalk consists of around 150 staff. This is in Bellevue, Washington, which means exorbitant rent
Give me money.
and sizable wages.
Give me money.
5 years of this adds up, and by 2023, an apparent $200 million had already gone into the game. Also, the game is supposed to be launching within the next 18 months. But it's in such a rough state, they'd probably need to use a ton of outsourcing for that to happen. This can be very expensive on short notice. It's okay. Internally, Sony is calling this game the future of PlayStation. Executives are even calling it their Star Wars. And the head of PlayStation Studios is so confident, he decides to go all in. And Sony buys Firewalk for
Yeah, strange that it's the calling it their Star Wars when it was the last Star Wars game that came out that was well, it wasn't very good and it made the young attractive woman into a very unattractive woman. Yeah.
For an estimated $100 million. Another steal. Now inside Firewalk Studios, and things are interesting. See, there's apparently a lead designer here who's decided she identifies as a professor, and she's demanding everyone at the studio call her that. Don't play.
I don't know if Sweet Baby Inc. had anything to do with this. Let me check. So, Concord was the victim of Sweet Baby Inc. effect. As development time for AAA video games continues to stretch on, games like Concord became victims of the time spent in development rather than benefiting from the added time. So it looks like they may have had dealings with it, possibly. So yeah, I mean, I don't know if I can't find anything else saying that they did, but that's the only sort of thing. They may have done, they may not have done. I don't know. So we'll say no, they didn't.
Ball, and you're potentially out of a job. This is despite not actually having a degree to back that up. She's reportedly not very popular. There's also apparently an overall vibe of, quote, toxic positivity here. Bad ideas are not shot down, as that would be like, not cool. As a result, the decisions here, also interesting. See, they'd gotten a ton of money and backing from Sony. They could do anything. You know those cinematic Overwatch shorts? Let's do those, but every single week of the year at huge expense to ourselves. Sounds good. And they blow a ton of that money on extremely expensive, motion-captured CGI cinematics. Because if this online-only multiplayer shooter needed anything, it was a storyline. Onto the characters. A few years ago, a movie had come out called Guardians of the Galaxy. A few people at Firewalk had seen it. Nice. Let's just do that. And the artists get to work. And after a few years, they'd drawn up some decent concept art for characters. But midway through development, a change of heart. Now, we're making a hero shooter here, and the market is becoming increasingly saturated. We have to do something different, stick out from the crowd. Let's make the characters look absolutely horrific. Maybe that's not such a good idea. No, don't disagree.
You might have been right.
Haven't you read the sign? And so, the brilliant ideas keep rolling. Cool concept, but let's give her some Walmart power armor and make her absolutely enormous. That walking trash can needs a pronoun. Make her 73 years old. This one should be humongous.
It definitely sounds like Sweet Baby Inc. was involved in this. And it sounds like you were right about the taking normal attractive characters and warping them into something completely the opposite.
Him. He needs some American football pads and a Turtle Beach headset. Horrible color coordination across the board. And remember, we're designing aliens here. We could get creative. But for now, let's just take a man and paint him green. Perfect. Now that the designs were top-notch, let's slap a $40 price tag on, in a market where almost all of our better, more established competitors are free to play.
Oh, so is that what... So did they actually do that then? They actually charge to play what would be normally a free-to-play game? Ballsy. Wonder how that goes for them.
And we're done. In May 2023, it's the big PlayStation showcase, and they reveal the game for the first time. And we see an empty spaceship with a jacket in a locker. Right, cool. Was this a single-player campaign? A co-op looter shooter? Multiplayer FPS? Who knows? But behind the scenes, Sony are still going all in. See, Blur Studios, the people behind Love, Death and Robots, are making a new anthology series on Amazon. Each episode is based on a different game. And turns out, Sony is so confident in their new IP that they'd managed to get one of these episodes to be on CONCORD. There's also now CONCORD controllers. Fast forward to May 2024,
Yeah, they'll be. If you could get hold of a CONCORD controller, I would strongly recommend doing it because they'll be worth a lot of money down the line. It's like one of the biggest games that just completely failed by one of the biggest studios, so it'd be worth a lot of money for one of those.
At PlayStation's State of Play stream, we see more. This time, an actual gameplay reveal trailer. And the gameplay is actually revealed.
Here's the very first look at the gameplay of Concord.
Turns out, it's just a 5v5 hero shooter with Guardians of the Galaxy on top. This is alongside a cinematic reveal, where we finally see the characters that they'd put so much money and effort into. The reaction is not great. They tell us they'd gone in on the storytelling. However, the personality of characters amounts to this guy just like really liking hot sauce. Marvel writing is also quite prevalent.
The graphics look good though. The character graphics looks really decent.
He's right behind me, isn't he?
But they assure us the lore is deep, rich, we'll want to get stuck in. They'd even spent a ton of money on bringing out new high-quality narrative cutscenes every week. But the thing is, no one actually cares about this because it's an online-only multiplayer game. And wait, does that say pre-order? $40? In a market where virtually every competitor is free to play? Don't worry lads, this thing's worth it. There's also a pre-launch beta in July, and everyone's invited.
Yeah, obviously.
But first,
if the uptake was so poor for the for the £40 fee, why I would have gone, well, you know what, just scrap it. We'll just make it free to play, like everything else, and it may have garnered some support and player base. I would have done that before pulling it. Yeah.
Internet is scary, filled with horrors. Navigation can be treacherous. Here, take this. See, your internet service provider can see everything you do. Depending on where you live, they can also sell all of that data to advertisers. And you didn't just join a public turning up. Everyone is now able to download the beta and play the game at no expense at all. But at this point, on PC, that's 2,388 people. For reference, Overwatch 2 had 1.5 million, Valorant around 3 million. These were both closed betas. The comments are over the moon. Despite all of that, reviews are coming in, and they're actually pretty good. But at Sony, issues. In February 2022, they'd said they were releasing more than 10 live service games before 2026.
Yep.
But by 2024, that number had dropped to 6. Concord was one of those 6.
Yeah, we're in 2025. We've just got a couple of days into 2025. Not seen any of these live service games. Is that down to 1 that they pulled from 12 to 6 to 1?
It needed to do well. The Last of Us 2 Online cancelled. Horizon's multiplayer projects, MIA. Deviation Games completely canned before they could even get a game out the door. Bungie, which Sony had blown almost $4 billion on, is also doing absolutely terrible, hitting almost 50% of their financial projections and actually losing money. With no more Destiny sequels or updates lined up, Sony needed another live service shooter, and they desperately needed a win. And judging by Concord's beta numbers, yeah, not good. They'd also apparently chugged through another $200 million. So that's...
Yeah, this might have been around the time where they were trying to purchase Call of Duty. So if they could have got Call of Duty, they would have been really happy, but obviously Microsoft got it.
It's around $400 million in development costs here. Right, what are we doing here, boys? Change the business model? Make the game free to play like every other hero shooter? No. The genre may be completely past its prime, massively oversaturated, and overwhelmingly free to play. But just look at these characters. A masterclass of design, bursting with personality. Fellas, there's no way people are passing this up. The $40 stays. And they gear up for the global launch in August, now just 2 months away. It's now August 23rd, and after 8 years and a reported $400 million, the game...
8 years and 400 million. Oh my god. That's so much money.
is out the
And
door.
time.
It runs well, isn't buggy, the animations are decent, and the gameplay is actually good. Basically Destiny 2 if it was a hero shooter. There's an okay amount of content in here too. 16 characters, 12 maps, and 6 modes. 3 maps, modes, and characters would also be released down the line, alongside the extremely expensive weekly cutscenes that everyone just couldn't wait for. But then people boot up the menu, and what they see. Jesus.
Come on, let's go!
Mushroom Man, She-Hulk, the Michelin Man, a walking, talking he-him trash can, Walmart laser tag boy, and a very old woman. In fact, the only character not universally hated is the walking trash can.
I like this one.
Besides the characters, the game offers pretty much nothing new to the genre. The maps are bland, and subpar graphics and effects. This is compared to a 15-year-old PS3 game. The game started development just after Overwatch, and as a result, CONCORD just kind of feels like half a decade old. Also,
Yeah, I saw that the cameraman who was like literally keeping up with, and basically, I think he would have won as well.
like playing as a certain character? Well, unlucky, because in certain game modes, if you win a round as them, you can't play them again for the whole game. There's also a whole storyline and lore that they'd invested a
what?
massive amount. Also, like playing as a certain character? Well, unlucky, because in certain game modes, if you win a round as them, you can't play them again for the whole game.
What? Why? But if you what? That's just stupid. That would really, really wind me up. I remember when we did DMZ and zombies and that sort of thing in COD. If I got killed, I was well annoyed because I lost all my guns, my character, everything. It really annoyed me. So that's just stupid.
There's also a whole storyline and lore that they'd invested a massive amount of effort
Boring.
and money into. There's even this lore dump star map with loads of planets. But no one cares because the characters suck and it's a multiplayer game with no campaign. And finally, it's like the 5th best 5v5 shooter on the market, and it's $40 more than everything else. You also need a PSN subscription to play, and it's not even free on PS Plus. But the thing is, besides all of that, there's a major problem here.
After all that, I mean, those seem pretty bad as it is. The fact they're still charging £40, and it's a average to mediocre game at best.
There's only 697 people playing the game. Almost 3,000 played the beta, meaning more than
How many was that? 697. So from selling the game, they've managed to make about £28,000 or dollars.
playing the game. Almost 3,000 played the beta, meaning more than half of them had just ditched. The 7-year-old Friday the 13th is also getting 10 times the players. This is a game without dedicated servers. CONCORD is an online-only, competitive multiplayer FPS. That means it relies heavily on a big, healthy player base. And turns out, Sony had decided to stick a PSN account requirement on, blocking the game in 180 countries.
Didn't Sony do that to something else very recently that came back and absolutely bit them in the ass? Yeah, Helldivers. Yeah. The Helldivers did incredibly well, and it could have been one of the biggest games ever. And then Sony went, yeah, we're going to be greedy, you have to have an account. And he just absolutely screwed the game over, and it killed the game. It's still going, but it's not doing anywhere near what it could have done. So it's good to see that Sony's still greedy and trying to do the same thing, and killing themselves in the process.
Nice one. Most other big budget AAA games also go on a media blitz before release. But CONCORD, not so much. Revealing the game just a couple of months before launch, a few paid streams here, some character videos there, and they called it a day. And by launch, somehow, no one had even heard of the game. Those that did saw that it cost $40 and presumably went to play literally any other game in the genre for a 100% discount.
Yeah, I knew about CONCORD. Like you said, you knew about CONCORD when it got canned. Yeah, when it got closed, I heard about it then.
The game got zero attention pre-launch. After launch, it's everywhere. The memes are plentiful. The characters are so hated.
Why would they give her Thugnificent's haircut?
People online start making their own, far better renditions. This designer even spends an hour breaking down how bad they are.
Before and after, it felt impossible to try to salvage these designs.
Also, the reviews are in. 20% recommended on OpenCritic, 1.7 out of 10 user reviews on Metacritic. Eurogamer calls it an arena shooter by ChatGPT. After a few days, it was clear. The game was underperforming. In fact, an article comes out claiming the game sold a grand total of around 25,000 copies. That's about $1 million. A whopping 0.25% return. Nice. The devs go ahead and take down the LGBT and political user tags from the Steam page, but
Most probably a good thing, because a lot of people get really ticked off with that. Personally, I've got no issue with it, but I know people, gamers like Heelers, Babyface, they just don't want it. You play games to escape. You don't. You watch movies. You play games because you want to escape from the real world and just have some time where you can just do whatever you want, you know. And then when it gets shoved in your face, it's just like, oh, come on, really? So.
But this does little to aid the situation. Things are going abysmally. But Firehawk isn't done just yet. Turns out, people were complaining about the game online, so they boot up Twitter and start typing. The game was a labour of love. Criticize it, and you're a weird, talentless freak.
We've seen that many times. That way of doing things really pays off and works well for the company. Well done, genius. Yeah, like good example. I don't know, Disney's Snow White. Well, I don't understand why places think that if something's not doing well, we'll attack the customers because that's what we should do. You need the customers. So if you attack them, then you won't have any customers because they'll go, well, why would I play a game when you're going to talk to me and treat me like that?
But this doesn't go down well either. With the horrific player count, alongside the barrage of memes online, it was obvious. The game had to go free to play. There was no other option. But then, on the 3rd of September, Firewalk comes out with a statement. Gents, it's been fantastic. But despite the support and the passionate community that has grown around the game, we're pulling the plug. The game is going offline in 3 days' time, while we explore options to bring it back. They also offer refunds to every single person that bought the game, regardless of playtime. It's not just digital copies either. Sony...
To be fair, the fact that they gave everyone a refund is pretty decent. Sony are horrific for how they treat their customers in regards to refunds and purchases. So the fact they actually just held their hands up and went, yeah, look, we're just going to refund you all. Sorry. I think that was decent of them to do that.
Is actually refunding every physical copy too. And now retailers aren't even letting people buy the game.
They wouldn't let me check out, even though they had this on the shelves and on the floor.
It's probably going to be around for a year. No, it's not.
That was not the plan.
Technically, it was a plan, it just wasn't the same plan that we started with.
In mid-September, Concord's game director steps down, while some of the 150-odd developers at Firewalk try pitching Sony on other ideas. Some think they'll be used as a support studio, others fear a wave of layoffs, maybe even the whole studio being canned. Also, Concord's Amazon episode is staying in, and is due to air this December. But regardless, on the 6th of September, we bid farewell. 12 days after launch, and the servers go down worldwide. 8 years, an alleged $400 million. Gone in the blink of an eye.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, I'll have a look now, actually. Yeah, sorry. Is Concord PS5. You can buy the game. You actually, it is on eBay. You can buy it right now, and they're about 20 quid. CONCORD, PlayStation 5, PS5, rare, sealed, pulled from shelf. This guy's selling 4 copies. Or is he just selling 1 copy? That's all. Is he selling 1 copy, but just displaying 3? PlayStation CONCORD game, show chef, Battle 5, Mercy on the Rich down in CONCORD. I just stand up. He doesn't say if he's selling 1 game or 3 games. So, yeah. The controller. Okay, let me have a look. Controller. Wow, the controller's there's £400, £500, and there's 2. That's it. 2 controllers, and it's £300 and £500. That's a lot of money for a controller. Wow. Wow. But yeah. Wow, it's just amazing how much money they blew on that game and how little they got back for it. So hopefully they'll learn. But yeah, I never played it. Like I said, like you guys said as well. I knew about the game after it got literally after it had been pulled and it gone down because everyone started reporting on it, and that's when I found out about it. I had no idea about it prior then. So yeah, well done them.